Welcome to the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. I'm Sean Aylmer. If you've ever watched The Block or searched online for a tradie, chances are you've heard of hipages. It's an online platform and app that pairs homeowners with tradespeople, bringing the on-demand economy to professional tradies. And by all accounts, it's been a huge success. Last year, hipages had 1.4 million jobs listed on the platform. It successfully listed on the ASX in November, and its most recent quarterly results exceeded expectations. At the same time, it's undergoing a massive change to its business model, shifting to a subscription system where tradies pay a regular fee to get access to job leads. It was a calculated risk that appears to be paying off. Roby Sharon-Zipser is the CEO and founder of hipages and is my guest this morning. Roby, welcome to Fear and Greed.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
So when you're doing so well, why go to a subscription model? That's what I want to know.
Well, the reality was we actually did have a subscription model in the business for a number of years, since 2014. But the challenge we had was that we were offering transactional products, subscription products, and both were good products, but probably neither of them were amazing, I would say. So we needed to make a decision to go with one, and subscription was it. And we made it an awesome product. So we're in the process of transitioning. We've got the majority of our customers now on a subscription product. So we're just now at we've got another 6 to 12 months of work to go to transition the remaining customers onto that subscription product.
Okay, so how does it work? If I'm a plumber or a sheet metal worker or a brickie, I pay a fee, is it a monthly fee or something, to get access to the job leads that are available on your platform on hipages?
Yeah, look, that's probably a good high level summary. The way it works is, look, we're Australia's largest online tradie marketplace. We have a big variety of services, everything from your cleaner to your builder, so everything in between. So you plumber, your electrician. But let's pick an example of an electrician. So an electrician could buy, say, one of our starter packages, which is $99 a month. And what we offer them is like a subscription utilization model, where we'd give them a certain amount of dollar credit. So on a $99 package, they would get a credit of $125, and say the average size of a lead is around $25. So they get to pick and choose the leads that they want from our platform, from the areas and the type of work that they want. They get to select that. They get to see the leads, but they get to select it. And say the average size of a job or a lead is $25, that will go in 5 times. So they can use up 5 leads in a month on a starter package. The prices of leads vary. So if it's a cleaning job, it's obviously generally a smaller size job. So that could be anywhere between $5 and $10 for a lead that gets eaten up in that subscription. So I'll get a little bit more leads. And if it's a bigger job, like a painting job or a building job, then those leads would be a little bit more expensive.
Okay, so let's take a step back. Let's go to the beginning. Where did the idea of hipages come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. I get asked that a lot. So the story goes that I purchased an apartment with my wife back when you couldn't afford to buy an apartment, and it was very unrenovated. It was like a 1950s building, like it was the same kitchen and bathroom, and this is all about 17, 18 years ago now, so it's been a while. And we went on the process of renovating that apartment.
Now, I think listeners need to know here, you're an accountant by training, aren't you? You're not.
Yes, I am.
You're not exactly an electrician, shall we say?
No, I don't have trades, but actually, what's really good is I've got a bit of a sales background, and I work with people, and I love working with trades, salt of the earth, really good people with their craft. So I fell in love with the industry.
What I'm getting at is here, you couldn't renovate the house yourself, I think.
Oh, no. I'm the do it for me kind of guy. I can't drill a hole in the wall.
I'm with you totally with you. Yep. Okay. So you got the apartment.
Yeah, so I got the apartment. We decided we wanted to renovate it, wanted to make it a little bit more comfortable, but we weren't sure what the rules were around licensing, if you needed to project manage it. We didn't know if we needed strata approval, council approval. We didn't know if when you wanted to actually go through the process of hiring the trade, if you needed to put deposits down, how much of a deposit, when they turned up, were we safe? Could you give them feedback? How would they respond?
I feel your pain.
Yeah. So, there's a whole bunch of what I would call it like friction, like resistance. And that's why a lot of people hesitate to go into the space. So, there had to be a better way. So we started writing a whole bunch of content about the process. And then we built in a directory. And then over time, we flipped that model into a request to quote service where trades that are available in your area that want to do your work and are vetted and checked, we would connect you at speed to those trades. And that's where the on-demand came in around 2012.
So can you find enough tradies?
Yeah, so as I said, we're Australia's largest online trading marketplace. So hipages has trades pretty much across the country, in pretty much every city in Australia, in all the different categories. So we have over 34,000 trade businesses. And obviously in metro areas, we do a really, really good job. In regional areas, we also do a good job, but metro is where it really shines. If you need a plumber or an electrician in a postcode in any of the major metros, we will get you connected with up to 3 trades at speed. And you'll be blown away at the speed. You'll post a job, and within a few minutes, you'll get your first connection with a vetted and checked trade. You can read their recommendations and ratings, and then you'll get a second connection within 10 to 15 minutes. And usually within the hour, you'll have 3 trades connected to you for your job, and you can pick and choose and message them, get your quotes, and then work with those trades.
Okay, and you don't take responsibility necessarily for whether they're doing a good job or not, though. That's sort of up to the consumer to compare the 3 and decide who they like. Is that right?
Yeah, so we take a level of responsibility in that we check that they're all appropriately licensed, registered businesses, and then we capture all the recommendations and ratings. What we do offer, which is a little bit different to other marketplaces that you would all be familiar with, is that we actually have a trust and quality team. So from time to time, when things aren't quite clear on both sides for both consumer and trade, we have a team of people that will work through what might come up with things that just haven't really been able to be resolved between the two parties. And that's pretty common, in trades. Everyone has a very different view of what's great and awesome for both sides, and expectations can sometimes differ, and we usually work out a solution. So in terms of just putting it into perspective, we'll do over 1.6 million jobs this year on our platform, and less than 0.1% come up with a view that things should be different, and then we resolve about 60 to 80% of those with no issue. So it's very, very small numbers.
Stay with me, Robbie. We'll be back in a minute. My guest this morning is Roby Sharon-Zipser, the Chief Executive Officer and founder of hipages. I'm just interested, we're talking tradies here, but really it's skills as much as it is trades, because clearly all the trades are in there. But, cleaning skills, all those sorts of skills are also part of the platform. Is that right? Right. It's much broader than just trades.
Yeah, that's right. So we refer to it as the on-demand tradie economy, but the categories that we operate in are very broad. It's pretty much if anything touches the home, we'll be involved in it. And that includes home improvement. So, your traditional trades that you would be familiar with, electricians, plumbers, painters, those type of trades. But we also do cleaning and removal services, pest control, any of those home services.
Okay, so 3 weeks ago, I've had termites in my house, Robbie, and I got someone to come, and I just Googled termite control. I then went to a second provider, and the second provider literally was half the price of the first provider and a lot more professional. And it is amazing, that marketplace, when you're an idiot like me when it comes to these sorts of things, and I just don't understand it. It is amazing how you can be taken for a ride unless you start comparing. For me, that was the difference between $4,000 and $8,000. But it's really hard to know who's who in the zoo when you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, look, that's a common complaint that we hear from consumers. Obviously, you're not an expert on a particular topic or an area, so you don't know if the first person you're meeting is giving you a fair price for the work that's being carried out. So that's what marketplaces do really well. So hipages comes along and you enter in your details of the type of work or the issue that you have, or the problem that you have. And what we then do is we'll connect you with those 3 trades. And then so you then get to meet and connect with those 3 trades. We get out of the way. And then you should always get 3 quotes where it's explained what they're quoting for. Also, you should underlying check their other materials, like what type of insurance coverage they've got on the work that they do. So just so you know, you're protected if something goes wrong. And then what happens is you can pick the ones that, you feel are the most professional or the best price competitively if you have a good comparison. So you should always get up to 3, and that's what we do. We connect you with three trades.
Okay, I want to change tack here. You sponsored The Block, incredibly popular television show. That must have been a pretty big move for a relatively small business to suddenly throw a lot of money at The Block. How'd that go?
Yeah, so we've always had some media. I mean, News is a major shareholder in the business, and so we've been on a lot of the mastheads for a number of years, but we never really had the opportunity to do free-to-air TV. And for that matter, obviously a competing media agency as well, media body, is going to Channel 9, right? So, that was an interesting conversation, but we all realised that the best thing for the business and the product, the block product itself, is almost synonymous with what we do. And you couldn't find a better partnership. We're the largest marketplace in Australia with trades. The show's always about the drama around the trades and finishing the rooms. It's the most popular reality TV show in the country. So we went in big. We became a tier 1 partnership sponsor on the block. It's not just ads on the show, it's fully integrated. There's really, really cool integrations like an emergency lever where hipages tradies or the utilization of our application is presented really clearly to the contestants. And that show was really strong for us. So we saw our awareness move from around mid-20s to mid-50s in terms of awareness in market. Obviously, we were doing other media at the time, so it's not the only thing, but definitely being on free-to-air was a strong move and also very risky for us because we didn't have actually sufficient capital at the time to do it. So we had to trade that one in terms of getting enough sales to cover that cost. But it was a good gamble and paid off. It was a calculated risk, but we saw the dividends of that and we're seeing that today.
And then you listed late last year on the ASX. So why did you do that?
So we're a company that's had investors in there for getting 7 to 10 years, not including the founders of the business. And we always wanted to list the company. It was planned to list towards the end of the year, last year, prior to COVID, and we were going to take our time about it. We were going to build the prospectus, meet the right advisors. That usually takes 6 to 12 months to do. And then COVID hit and all those plans went down the gurgler and everyone was a bit concerned about what was going on. And obviously, there's still risks in the market. But what we found in the category that we operate in is that it has a lot of tailwinds that is a beneficiary of what's happened with some of the outcomes of COVID and more for the longer term. So it wasn't an immediate, it's not like you needed to run out and buy pasta and that, retailers in that area did well. But businesses like ours have done really well in that people aren't traveling, people are working more from home, interest rates are really low, property prices are very high. So we've got a lot of tailwinds in the business. And so the business started to see a big bounce out of April and May last year. And the question came up by the board and said, hey, we're back to trading, prior to COVID and actually doing better. Why don't we list the company? And we said, that's a good question. Let's do it. And we started looking around. There weren't many other companies. We were one of the first companies to list on the ASX since, COVID had hit in April and May. And that was also quite a risk. So we're not shy of taking risks, but that also paid off. And we were able to clear debt in the business, which we were carrying. Debt can have its burdens with covenants and restrictions. And we're a very well capitalized company. And we were able to provide some liquidity to some of those long-term investors and shareholders that have been very patient with us in the business. And everyone's done very well.
We'll be back with more in a moment. I'm talking to Roby Sharon-Zipser, the CEO and founder of hipages. You mentioned when you're just describing why going to an IPO, how busy the business had become and how busy tradies had become, and certainly home builder schemes seem to have helped that. Is that continued on beyond March? Because you'd have so much data, you would actually understand what's going on, who's busy, who's not, that type of thing. So has it continued?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So there's a number of questions that have been coming out this way. So people are asking me this all the time, and we do have significant data on what's happening. So there's incredible demand. So that is consumer demand for home improvements and home services. It's never been as strong as what I'm seeing now. And the the 4 reasons actually why that's happening is online adoption is strong. It's continuing to people to come to on-demand products and marketplaces like hipages. Is just the adoption of that's just crazy. And I can't see that changing for the longer term. That's just going to continue to get more and more people have more and more expectations. People aren't traveling. I think there's something like 60 billion a year spent overseas on travel. And I think that's not going to really happen for quite a while yet until they work out, where the rest of the world is vaccinated. And that's still a way off. So people spending more time in their homes, making them more comfortable, whether it's a deck or it's a garden landscape job, or just improving the internal home theatre of the house, or, just improving your lighting, those kind of things. We also see the structural change of work happening. So people are working more flexible arrangements with their employers. So they're working at home more. And again, wanting a better home and a working environment is now going on to Australians. We're saving more than ever before. I was really recently at an economic update, and Australians are saving ridiculous amounts. Crazy considering a recession and a black swan event occurring in market. And then, cost of money, interest is so low. People can spend a bit more money on improving their home when they're saving. So I see this trend continuing for at least the next 3 years. I don't even worry about that. The bigger problem that people are concerned about with our business model is, are there enough tradies in Australia to meet that demand? And the reality is probably not. There will be a shortage of trades. But why I don't worry about it in our marketplace business is because we know that lead generation platforms like hipages provides the best return on investment for every marketing dollar spent. We got research and data when we were doing our IPO that verified that. And so what we're seeing is an incredible amount of trades that are still spending money on their advertising and marketing, but they're looking for the most cost-efficient, most effective marketing. And so they're coming to us. And so we actually are recruiting very aggressively more and more salespeople to address that supply that's coming in. So we're actually seeing really good strength. And that's why we actually announced to the market an upgrade on our revenue and profit.
Fantastic. Robbie, thank you for talking to Fear and Greed.
No problem. Thank you.
That was Roby Sharon-Zipser, the CEO and founder of hipages. This is a Fear and Greed daily interview. Join me every morning for the full Fear and Greed podcast with all the business news you need to know. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.